Hello, hello to all our friends out there. Thank you for joining us this morning. We're just going to take about 30 seconds here just to let some of our other friends hop online and to make sure that all of our technical issues are worked out before we get started. Feel free to grab yourself a glass of water, a tea if you'd like, maybe fill up your diffuser. You can't see mine, it's buried back here in the plant jungle, but this morning I'm diffusing Citrus Dream with a little bit of extra grapefruit just to give myself a boost. So that's how I'm going to get us started today. We're going to be talking about some of my favorite products for wellness, the things I'm using at home to support myself. So get ready, my friends. With that, we're going to get started. Good morning, good afternoon from wherever you're tuning in. My name is Kristin. I'm the National Educator here at Saje. I've been fortunate to be working in learning and in education for almost 5 years. I'm really passionate about our products, about our ingredients, and about product education. So I'm super excited to share with you some of the products that I really love, some of the products that, like I said, are supporting my wellness when I'm at home. And I'm really hoping today you can learn something new or you can take away something about a product you already have. So the first product we're going to start with, we're going to look today at our Yak Hair Sponge, and this is the yam extract. So this is what it looks like brand new. This is what it looks like out of its case, and we're going to talk a bit about it. So you just sort of slide off your paper here, open your lid, and this is what it looks like when you get this product at home. So it comes to you in this plastic. If you can hear that, it's very firm. And then you can see once it's been softened with water, you can see as well almost by the size difference, almost like the doubling in size. So there's a couple of reasons I want to talk to you and share with you today about why I love the sponge. I've often said that this is maybe my favorite skincare addition ever because I've just learned so much about how easy and effective it is to use, and it has like awesome environmental benefit as well. So we'll talk first about what konjac is. So konjac is a really porous vegetable, a root vegetable. It's really calorically low, it's nutrient dense, it's really popular in a lot of Asian cuisine. And so what we've done is we've taken the extract and we've then added the yam extract and created in a mold what looks like a sponge. And then we've added this little string that we'll talk about in a minute as well. And some of the benefits of the fiber itself is that it's naturally resistant to bacteria. It's also very gentle. So we use these as natural daily exfoliants. So what you would do, like I said, when it's in its original form like this, you just need to saturate it in water. And from brand new like this, it might take you a minute or two to get it really soft. And once it's like this, you see very pliable and spongy. You can use your sponge with or without cleanser. So think of it as a sponge. So it's really porous, it's absorbent. So if you're going to use cleanser, apply to the face first. And then you actually just create like this. So like circular motion on the skin to remove any makeup if you're wearing, or also to just help remove like dirt, oil, just grime and buildup on the face. I love it because I mentioned it's like a natural daily exfoliant. So when you think typically exfoliant, you think like abrasion, and oftentimes it's like nuts or seeds or some sort of ground. This is just the fiber itself, which is going to help to brighten and soften the skin. So I use mine both morning and night. This is my personal sponge here. There's so many things about it that are just, like I said, awesome and excellent and really effective. So the sponge itself, once you're done using the product, it's actually fully compostable or biodegradable. So I always kind of joke that you can just like throw it in the street when you're done or drop it off your balcony if your neighbors aren't underneath. And some people love to plant them. So you can put them in your garden or in your plant pot, or you can just compost anywhere that you would typically like have your compost or your biodegradables. The other thing I want to mention, this is another sort of common misconception. So a myth we can bust. The case here itself. So a lot of people think it's plastic, but it's actually made of bamboo. So you can recycle. One of my favorite tips actually for reusing, what I'll do is I'll add some cotton balls or some cotton pads and then essential oils and replace the lid. And then you can actually make an air freshener. So you can slip it like maybe in your sock drawer or in like a musty closet, just keep it in your bathroom. It's another little great use. But what you don't really want to use this for is actually storing the sponge. So once the sponge comes out, typically you want to keep it out. There's a couple of reasons for that. So the fiber itself is really naturally resistant to bacteria, but it's once you introduce water, water is where you'll start to hold bacteria and you can form mold. So it's important to let your sponge air dry, and that's why we've added the string. So this is a natural unbleached cotton string. I put a little hook just on the side of my toilet, my towel bar, like beside my toilet or on the side of your sink, and then you can just sort of hang it to dry. Some people like to keep it on top of the case like this. I'll be honest, I'm not even a big fan of that. I think that it's better to just keep it where it can be hung to dry between uses. And then another common question is how you would know your sponge is done. So this was a great time for me to share this with you. I don't know how much you can see, but my fiber is actually starting to break down. So it's starting to sort of shed itself. And that's a good indicator for you that it's time to replace your sponge. So I always say they're really intelligent. They're really intuitive. They'll tell you when it's time to go. My experience says about 3 to 5 months for a sponge, but it's also highly dependent if you use it to remove makeup, because there's lots of different oils and things within makeup that can cause it to break down earlier. So just some of the considerations. But again, like I said, I think it'll give you some indications. So as you can tell, I love this. I really do. I'm super excited. I have a new one, so I can replace this one. So again, anything that isn't clear, doesn't feel awesome about the sponge, put it in the comments and we'll make sure to address that for you. So that's our first guy, Cognac Sponge. Second product we're going to talk about makes me laugh as soon as I bring it out. This is our Fortify Cough and Cold Nasal Inhaler. I'm laughing because anyone I work with in our home office knows very well how much I love this product, how often I will come onto a Zoom call already mid-inhale. So I'm excited to share with you about it. So this is part of our cough and cold line of products. So in Canada, you would know it as Immune. In the US, it's the Fortify line. And a nasal inhaler really is exactly what it says. You would inhale through the nose. So you unscrew your lid. This is your little piece here. It has like just a little hole at the top from which you inhale. And so all you'd want to do is just create like a little bit of a barrier to the nostril and then apply the product close and take a nice deep breath in, and you can switch and do it on both sides. So there are so many reasons I'm such a huge fan of the inhaler. So like I mentioned, if you know the Immune or Fortify line, it's really camphorous essential oils that help you breathe deep. So tea tree, eucalyptus, rosemary, and this is very effective for any sort of congestion, stuffiness, like sinus pressures, even things like sneezing or itching, related sometimes to seasonal shift. It's a personal use product. So think about like a scent-free environment, for example, or somewhere you might want to use a product discreetly, like even if you were on public transit or anywhere in a public space, you can just create, like I said, that moment of wellness for yourself very easily. And I want to give you guys just a really quick tutorial about why you would choose to use a product that you would inhale versus one you would apply topically. So this is the Immune and Fortify roll-on. So think about it in this way. This is the simplest analogy. So anything that you breathe in is really quick acting. Anything that you apply topically is long lasting. And this is often why at Sage, we refer to it as layering wellness. So using products together to really like boost their effect and give you longevity. So think of acute symptoms. Like I said, you're sneezing, you're itching, you're feeling stuffed up. Something that you breathe in is going to work within about 6 to 9 seconds. It starts sending information to your brain, it's reaching your limbic system, and it's starting to form, an experience of how it's going to use that product. So if you're experiencing acute symptoms, this can be relieving quickly. Whereas when you think about, like I said, applying a product maybe on your throat or on your chest, it's going to take a little bit longer to get into your bloodstream. So passing through your skin and through your dermis, all the different layers, and then sort of fortifying and supporting your wellness for a longer period of time. So that's why you might consider like which one you would want to use. I did a little inventory last night. I wanted to be honest with you guys. So I checked everywhere in my apartment and my number was 7. So I have 7 of these little bad boys floating around. I always say I keep them in my like frequently worn jackets. I have one in my backpack. I have one in my wallet, beside my bed, on my couch, just near the area where I watch TV or read books. I find that for me personally, it's just like the the support that I need that is like quick to use. I find it effective immediately. I'm just, yeah, a big, huge fan. So like I said, this one gives me a big, bright smile. The last thing I wanted to mention, you might have one that looks like this. And this was just an older color pattern. So we're moving to standardize some of our packaging into this warm gray this year. So if you have this sort of like a bluish gray, never fear, it's the same formula. It's gonna last a long time. That's the last thing I'll mention about the inhaler as well, is they can last you up to a year. So a lot of times that's surprising for people because it's such a small piece, but really what's inside is something called a tige. So it's like a cotton, a very, very like durable and thick cotton piece, and it's well saturated with essential oil. Because the opening is so small and you're exposing it to air so infrequently, like you just remove the lid, take your breath and replace the cap, it's gonna stay fresh for up to a year. So again, like super effective, cost effective, is going to last forever. You just want to make sure that you tighten your lid on very well after use. So that's product number 2. Very excited about that one. And then moving along, this is another product that I want to introduce in its old form and then its new form. So some of you may know this guy. This was called Virgin Lips. Virgin Lips is an intensive shea lip moisturizer, and it came like this in a pot. So like a more solid balm in a pot. And brand new, we just launched this in the last month, we're actually introducing Lip Nourish. So Lip Nourish is the same formula. It's been reformulated just in the sense that we had to soften the base. So to move again from that idea of like a pot balm to a squeeze tube, but it still has that beautiful spearmint, peppermint, and fennel. So I find it to be like a really, yeah, like just a welcoming and pleasant fragrance. It's not overly strong, and it still has those intensive ingredients. So beeswax, shea butter, everything that promotes like a really long lasting sort of balm. I love that it's moved to squeeze tube. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not a huge fan of things in a pot. I always just find, yeah, that I'm not as inclined to want to put my hands or my fingers in there. So this is like an amazing upgrade. What I love about it, couple different things. Number one, it's not sticky or tacky. I'm so not a fan of products that leave that kind of residue or like residual product. What else I love about it is I've recently discovered over the last few months that I breathe really deeply through my mouth when I sleep. So a lot of times when I wake up, my lips feel really dry or really chapped. And what I've loved about this guy is just being able to apply like a nice thick layer before bed. And I wake up in the morning and it's almost like my lips still have a little bit of moisture, and I definitely don't experience the dryness. So think of this like after any type of wind or sun or just intensive elements as like an awesome daily use, like as frequently as you'd like, lip balm. So like I said, super celebrating this, really easy again to keep tucked into your purse, your backpack, you know, beside your bed, whatever you need. So Lip Nourish. Moving along to product number 4. Again, for any of you who know me, this wouldn't surprise you a lot. This is our Rose Mist. So I want to tell you a little bit about rose itself, the essential oil, before we talk about the mist. So rose in aromatherapy is really commonly referred to as the queen. So the queen of essential oils. There's a few reasons for that. So picture this, wrap your head around this. It takes 60, so think if someone gave you 5 dozen roses, 60 full-size rose blooms to create one singular drop of essential oil. So it's why rose is often referred to as precious, because it truly is a labor of love. It's an incredible amount of raw material with an incredible amount of labor that goes into creating the essential oil that we know to be so restorative, so nurturing, and so comforting for so many reasons. So thinking about its physical uses, rose is very hydrating, so super nourishing for the skin. And more specifically, I'm a big fan of its spiritual uses. So rose is known to be really supportive of any sort of like heavy or depressed or repressed energies. So sadness, even something like grief, rose can be really restorative to the heart chakra. And I love just thinking about it as being like a very supportive and comforting essential oil. So within this form in the mist, this is the product that I actually use as my facial mist. So after I use my sponge, for example, I've cleansed the face, this becomes my toner. And so you've heard the old saying, oil and water don't mix. It's true. So that's a tip as well for any mist product from Saje. You always want to give them a good shake. So that's going to help blend your essential oil and water. And then there's a couple different ways to use it. So if you're going to apply to the face, what we encourage you to do is just close your eyes and your mouth and mist a few times above the head while just taking in a deep breath. So it looks just kind of like this. So give it a shake and then just like a good couple of mists. Nice deep breath in, and then you have the experience of the product on the skin as well as the secondary benefit of breathing it in. You can also just like mist a little bit to the hand if you'd like and pat it into the face. That's really personal preference. A couple other ways I love to use it is actually over my pillows and my bedding as well. So a personal mist to again sort of set that stage, a tone for an oil that I find personally like really inviting, really welcoming in my space. So anywhere like face, body, anything that feels good for you, completely safe over makeup, almost just like a little bit of a set as well. So you don't have to worry about, you know, pre or post makeup for its use. So that's our rose mist. Big fan. Big fan. I'm a big fan of all of these. That's why it's my top 5. The last one we're going to talk about today, I think probably our most asked about in terms of like why you would use it, how you would use it. So I'm really hoping we can get clear on some of that for you today. And it's this guy. So this is a clear quartz facial roller. So a facial massager. Looks a little bit like a tool. Perhaps you would, I don't know, use it as a tool in the kitchen. But I want to talk about how we use it in skincare. So the reason you would use a facial massage roller, it's really to increase blood flow and circulation, which can help with everything from reducing blemishes, evening skin tone, reducing puffiness. And I'm going to show you, I'm going to demo literally how to use it. So this is your handle, this is your roller, and you literally just start like this, creating, you know, a roll over the face. We often recommend to start from the center of the face and roll outwards. And there's a couple things you obviously want to keep in mind here. You want to be very gentle around like delicate areas like the eye or sort of like in the creases near the nose. And you can also apply pressure just according to what feels good. So you don't have to really get in there deeply, just something that feels nice. And this is where I love it personally, just under the cheekbone, along the jawbone, where so many of us hold tension and tightness here. And I do find right away you can really feel the relief, particularly under the cheekbones. And again, so just anywhere that feels good for you. A couple of things to keep in mind. For myself personally, I like to cleanse the face fully and use it before I've applied product. So right now I'm wearing a little bit of makeup. This isn't when I would normally use the roller, but I like to do it on a clean, dry face. Some people like to incorporate their serum or their elixir. So again, like a little bit of easier movement and then also helping your product spread really nicely on the skin. So there's no right or wrong, just whatever your personal preference. Two very important things to keep in mind about care and maintenance. So the first is that it's easy to clean, it's simple to clean, but it's important to clean. So you don't want to transfer like any bacteria or any oil or dirt from the face. So once you've used the product, we just recommend giving it a good clean. I like to just pump any of our foaming hand soaps and then just like roll it through my hand, get all the little nooks and crannies, give it a really good rinse under water, and then a good dry with a soft, clean towel. The drying is really important because you don't want to get any rust or anything that sort of like stays within the space. So just give it a good wipe down after you've cleansed it. And that's it, super simple. A tip, so it wasn't really the second important piece, but it was a tip, and this might come in important too, is to try it cold. So keeping this in your fridge and then just experiencing that chill on the skin is incredible. You know, you hear people say that they'll take like 2 spoons that have been in the fridge or the freezer and they apply them to the eye to reduce puffiness. It's that same idea. So fun little tip to try it cool. And then the last thing I'd say, I just want to talk about the crystal itself. So in metaphysical crystal healing, clear quartz is an energy amplifier. So that means that it has the ability to really amplify and provide abundance to the energy that you're really creating for yourself or inviting into your space. So I love to use this as almost meditative and restorative in the sense that you're prioritizing your wellness, you're taking time for yourself, you're giving yourself a moment of self-care. And I like to think of it in that way. If you even want to include like a mantra or something that you would sort of say to yourself. You can see this is another one I'm a big fan of. I'm also known to come onto a Zoom call or two doing a little bit of a crystal roll. So that's some information about this guy. And like I said, as with any of the products, if there's any questions, let us know. So that's going to be the top 5, my personal top 5 for the moment. But I do have an ask from all of you. I'd love to hear if there are any products you have currently that you're just not sure how to use, or you love more information, you're curious about ingredients or how to use them. And if you just want to pop that in the comments, that can really help me to set up some future content or to think about other products that we can provide education or give you information about. Otherwise, I'm also just curious, and I'd love to hear what some of your favorite products are, how you're using them. One thing I'm really passionate about in education is community. So our community sharing education about how they use products, how they're enjoying them, how they're finding the results. And that can really help people, especially since most of us are shopping digitally right now. That can help people, you know, sort of answer questions or give them information on something they might be curious about. So feel free to pop that in the comments. I'm personally going to be answering any questions you have, anything, like I said, that you're curious about. So feel free to populate those there. As always, you can reach us at hello@sage.com. Check us out on sage.com. Anything that you need, we're happy to help. So thank you again for spending some time on your Monday. I'm really loving this. I'm having a lot of fun getting to interact with all of you. So thank you again for taking your time. Have a really great rest of your week, and we'll talk to you again soon. Take care.